My name is Gaia. I'm 16 years old, and I'm probably the most beautiful girl you will ever meet in your life. For this reason, I'm extremely popular at school. Everyone has heard of me, and everyone wants to be my friend. My teachers literally worship the ground I walk on, and the principal lets me get away with practically anything. But school is just a small part of my life, considering that I'm already one of the most popular models in my state. I have over 200,000 followers on Instagram, a huge fan base, if you ask me. I work part-time for a modeling company that sends me to different countries to model. I've flown first class more times than an ordinary person can hope to fly economy. The best part about this job is the free stuff. I get designer clothes, shoes, bags, perfumes, accessories, you name it. All I have to do is walk around with my awesome stuff and continue being breathtakingly beautiful. It probably seems like I have the perfect life, right? Wrong. There is something about me that I rarely discuss with anyone because it makes me feel bad about myself. I have never gone on a date. In fact, I've never even had a boyfriend. Guys pretend that they like me, they talk to me, and then they suddenly disappear, leaving me confused and heartbroken. Even the nerdiest girl at school has a boyfriend, and well, I'm just here. It doesn't make any sense at all. I should have guys fighting to decide who will get to take me out. But instead, I spend my weekends and evenings alone in my room, avoiding my mom and ugly older sister. When I'm not traveling, that is. Last year, I almost went out with a guy called Drake. He's a senior at my school, and he's like the male equivalent of me. Totally gorgeous. I'd get butterflies if I thought he was in the room next door. One day, he just walked up to me while I was studying in the library. "You're too beautiful, you know? Are you sure you're from this planet?" he said. I giggled like a total idiot. "Well, I could say the same about you," I replied. "I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, but I was sort of afraid. Do you have a boyfriend?" he asked. "No," I replied. "Oh, great. Okay. You seem like the kind of girl who has many guys to choose from, so I didn't think I stood a chance. Could I have your number?" I thought this was finally my chance. I gave him my number without thinking twice. That night and for many nights after, we stayed up until 2 in the morning talking to each other. We got to know each other really well. He was so funny and charming, but I was sad that I only got to see him at school. I wanted to experience my first date, and even more, my first kiss. But that was not about to happen. One day, Drake just stopped replying to my messages. When I saw him at school, he would pretend he didn't see me and walk the other way. I tried to ask him what was wrong, but he refused to talk to me. This was my first real heartbreak. Imagine having your first heartbreak before your first date. Pathetic, right? Anyway, I felt much better when I met Brad at one of my modeling shoots. He went to a school nearby, and he was an intern at the same photography company that was taking my pictures that day. After nearly throwing his camera on the floor several times because he was so nervous, he finally got the courage to talk to me. "I follow you on Instagram, and I think you have some wonderful pictures on there. Here's another one you can add," he said while showing me a picture he took with his camera. "Hi, thanks." I blushed shyly. It really was a good picture. We spoke briefly that afternoon, but later he sent me a message on Instagram. "Hey, gorgeous model, what's your favorite food?" he typed. "Pizza," I replied. "Well, I know this really good place downtown. Would you like to go out to get some next Saturday?" he said. "Sure. What time?" I wrote. We decided to meet at 7 in the evening. Although it was a whole week away, I was so nervous. We spoke a lot, and as time went by, I felt more comfortable with him. When the day finally arrived, I spent the whole morning planning my outfit. By the afternoon, I had changed my mind about what I wanted to wear and had spent hours trying to figure out something different. Then I had to do my makeup. At 6:30, I made my way downtown to the restaurant. I walked in and looked around. He wasn't there, so I sat down and ordered a Coke. Almost 1 hour later, he still wasn't there. I was angry. He stood me up. How could he do this to me with no explanation at all? "What the hell? Where are you?" I texted him. There was no answer. I went home and cried. At 10, he still hadn't replied. The next day, I was hoping he would have sent a long apology and explained what happened. Maybe he'd gotten into an accident or something like that. It had to be something serious if he was completely ignoring me. He never answered. Was I ghosted again? At this point, I felt there was no hope for my dating life. Was something wrong with me? I'm beautiful, so I knew it wasn't that, but did I smell bad? What was it? Why would no guy take me seriously? And why would no guy take me out on a real date? It was Sunday, and I decided that I needed to do something to cheer myself up. I put on my gym outfit and went running near the park. Experiencing a runner's high was just what I needed. I wanted to feel the wind on my face and to worry about nothing at all. After running for about half an hour, I began to think about Brad again. While I was distracted with my sad thoughts, I tripped over my shoelaces and fell down. I hadn't even realized they were untied. I hit my head really badly, and it felt like it was bleeding. I could taste the concrete. "Hey, are you okay?" a male voice said. "Obviously not," I replied without looking up. He reached for my arm and tried to lift me off the ground. I turned my head, and in an instant, everything was perfect in the world. Staring me in the face was the most handsome guy I had ever seen in my life. He had brown hair, brown eyes, very fine features, and an amazing body. "Here, let me get that for you," he said while reaching into his backpack. He pulled out a cloth and began to wipe my face. "Don't worry, it's clean," he said. When he was done, he helped me get to a nearby bench and sat next to me. "So, what are you doing here running all by yourself and falling into the arms of strangers?" he said. "Well, I was really sad about my date not showing up last night. I really liked him, and he's totally ignoring me right now," I replied. I don't know why I was telling him all of this, but it just felt like I could trust him. What a stupid guy. Well, he doesn't deserve you if he treated you like that. If he was serious, he'd make sure you knew that you were very special to him. "Anyway, I'm Samuel. It's lovely to meet you. What is your name?" he said. I thought for a while and realized that what he was saying was true. Besides, I wasn't thinking about Brad anymore with this fine specimen by my side. "My name's Gaia. It's nice to meet you too. Enough about my problems. What are you doing here?" I asked. "Well, same as you, I guess. I used to go to the gym, but I changed my routine a bit. Now I go jogging every morning," he replied. We sat there and talked for what seemed like hours. When we realized it was getting too late, we exchanged contact information so we could stay in touch. We spoke constantly each day. He became more than just some guy I'd talk to. He was a dear friend. I told him almost everything. My thoughts, my dreams, what worried me, and what made me happy. He spoke to me about everything too. We never got to see each other, and I was hoping that he'd finally ask me out. There was no better person I could imagine myself sharing a first date with. I began to imagine all the possible scenarios. Should we go to an amusement park? It'd be fun, but we'd hardly get to talk. Should we go to the movies? We could get cozy in there, and maybe it would set the mood for my first kiss later. Or how about a simple stroll by the sea? He'd hold my hands, tell me he loved me, and it was just too much to imagine. The day finally came. I had just gotten off my bed one morning, and I was brushing my teeth when I heard a notification on my phone. I picked it up, and it was a text message from Samuel. "Hey, sweetie, would you like to go to watch a movie with me tomorrow night?" It said. "Yes," I replied with way too many exclamation marks at the end. Oh my gosh, I thought, he's going to think I'm desperate. I was so excited. I started thinking about what I'd wear and what we'd do after the movies. Suddenly, these happy thoughts were quickly destroyed by doubts. What if he ghosted me just like the other two guys? What would I do then? I needed a plan. I decided that instead of allowing him to ghost me like the others had done, I would show up at his house 3 hours before the movie. That way, he would have to go out with me even if he changed his mind. There was one problem, though. I didn't know where he lived. There's not a problem that technology can't fix, I thought as I grabbed my phone and scrolled through his Instagram pictures. "Jackpot!" I shouted. There was a picture of his 2 dogs in front of their house. The location was visible, and although I couldn't see the exact address, I had a pretty good idea of where the house was and what it looked like. The next day, I was determined to have a perfect day. I called Samuel to make sure we were still on for later. He said yes, and the first few hours of the day flew by. When it was time, I left home and went to search for Samuel's house. It took a good half hour, but I finally found a house which matched the picture. I walked up to the front door and rang the doorbell. A little girl opened the door and stared at me with eyes wide open. "Whoa, you're so pretty. Will you be my friend?" she said as Samuel approached. "Gaia, what are you doing here? How did you even find my house?" You know what? Never mind. Come in," he said. He looked so happy to see me. When I was inside, he introduced me to his parents and went to get ready. "Well, since you're here early, I guess we can do something before the movie," he said. About 15 minutes later, we heard the doorbell ring. "I'll get it," shouted Samuel. He was already ready. I followed him to the door, and as he opened it, I had the fright of my life. Standing in front of us was the most massive man I had ever seen. He was dressed in black and carrying a huge gun. I came to deliver a message to Samuel. Listen very clearly. If you continue to see Gaia, I will have to hurt you. Stop talking to her now and you will be safe. If you do not listen to my warning, you will have a serious price to pay. He growled. He then slammed the door and walked away. I was so confused. Who was he? I had never seen him before in my life. I decided to run after him to get some answers. When I finally caught up to him, I grabbed his arm. Who are you? Why did you threaten the only guy I really liked? I cried. You aren't supposed to know this, but you have some very dangerous people in your family you've never met. They are the ones who've been paying me to do this. I will continue until you are 18. It's only then that the complete truth will be revealed to you, he said and calmly walked away. Now it all made sense. This monster had been chasing away all my potential boyfriends. I ran back to Samuel's house to tell him what I found out, but the door was locked and they wouldn't open it. I had no choice but to go home all alone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my story, leave a like. Subscribe to this channel and check out our other videos. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.